ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first episode of ChasingCinema.com's official podcast in the year 2015. I know it has felt like forever since you've heard our voices, because we took a week off to take a break and settle in all the movies, because there is kind of a gap. And even though this is our first podcast in 2015, we still won't be really focusing on any films from 2015, as today me and Louie are going to be briefly talking about Selma and Inherent Vice, which was released this week in Las Vegas. And then the other half of our podcast is going to be a recap of tonight's Golden Globes, which will be airing at 5 o'clock Pacific time and 8 o'clock Eastern. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. So this podcast isn't going to necessarily be the normal way that we usually podcast, but hey, what a way to start off the year. And ladies and gentlemen, I know I've introduced myself as Jacob Toronto, but let me reintroduce someone who hasn't been on the podcast in probably nearly a month. Ladies and gentlemen, my co/best friend,
Louie Corzolo.
Louie,
it's good to be back.
I know. How does it feel?
Feels good. And
the people have missed you.
No, they didn't. They probably enjoyed it. They loved it. They said, finally, this punk Louie is off the podcast. Now we could get some good stuff.
They were saying, where has Louie been? We want to know. Where is he going?
Their Christmas wish has come true.
You are.
I left. No, I'm not back. It's been a short Christmas gift, but I gave them the pleasure of having me off the air. And thank you to Michael Smith, who's did a great job.
Yeah, like Michael. We really want to thank Michael Smith, who really kind of helped us out as Lou was just doing a bunch of stuff, being real busy. Our schedules really conflicting, so Michael really helped us out. We appreciate that. Go follow him at Mike's Film Talk on Twitter. But tonight, the reuniting of Jacob Toronto and Louie Corzolo is one for the books, as this is how we start 2015. Me and Louie have gotten some, we're changing things up with Chasing Cinema. We're going to be doing some different things. Make sure, especially on our social media website, so make sure to tune into those, as we're going to be implementing, in the next few weeks, we're going to be into, what was the word I'm looking for? Intemplating? No. What was the word I just said? I know.
You had it.
Implementing.
Implementing.
We're going to be doing a Throwback Thursday thing where we review an older film that we're just going to review each week. We're going to be doing like Movie Still Monday and Movie Clip Wednesday and so on and so forth. It's going to be a bunch of fun stuff going on. We're going to be doing giveaways on a more often basis. So we're going to be changing some things up. So get ready for a year of change and growth here at Chasing Cinema. And Louie, now me and Louie have kind of gotten on a schedule where Louie's able to watch a lot more films. I'm sure as most of you paid attention, or last year, Louie didn't get to watch as many movies that we discussed, but Louie, we're going to get on a schedule where Louie could watch most of the films that we're going to be doing and seeing just as much as I am, hopefully. Speaking of which, to start off this podcast, is like I said, we have limited time because we're going to talk a lot about the Golden Globes, Inherent Vice, and Selma. Louie, you watched Paul Thomas Anderson's new film that that has not been nominated for any Golden Globes this evening.
Ooh. Joaquin Phoenix has been nominated for Best Actor in a Comedy or Musical.
Oh, he was nominated this year.
Yes, sir.
I didn't see that. Oh, you're right. He did. I went through this whole thing. I guess I just misread it.
That's how much you liked Inherent Vice.
So the one Golden Globe nomination to Joaquin Phoenix. Louis, what did you think about Paul Thomas Anderson's new film? Break down Inherent Vice for us.
Listen, I love a film that could cause a great debate. And I love a film where one person can say the movie was complete nonsense. It was trash. Forget about it. Overrated. Not good. And another person sitting next to that person could say it's amazing, it's a masterpiece. And this is a film right here. Paul Thomas Anderson, who's been known to do this. If you look through his filmography, a lot of his films have gathered a lot of mixed reviews. Even going back to his last film, The Master.
Yes.
Which completely divided audience. And he's back at it again with Inherent Vice. Inherent Vice is a type of film that is not for everyone. It's definitely not for the average moviegoers, because it's a film that's designed in a way to adhere not only to the novel, because it's based on a novel, and it's a novel that's very dense in plot, and you meet new characters practically every different page, and it's just so convoluted and so messy and so out there that even the book is complicated to follow and understand. And Paul Thomas Anderson, who's known to be very ambitious with his films, if you think of Magnolia, what an ambitious film that is, takes that and applies it to his film with his own great direction behind it. And it pretty much it's a mess. Inherent Vice is a mess, but it's a good mess. If you're a fan of PTA, like I am, I'm sure there's many aspects of film that you're going to absolutely love. It's beautifully shot, like any Paul Thomas Anderson film. A great soundtrack, a great score, and wonderful performances from the whole cast. You got Joaquin Phoenix, who plays Private Eye Doc, and he's a pothead. He's a laid-back hippie, and Joaquin Phoenix does it so uncanny, so at ease that it's just amazing. Josh Brolin's in it. He's funny. Owen Wilson, Martin Short, the list goes on. It's wonderfully acted, and that's what we come to expect from PTA films. It's funny, it's amusing, it's not as serious as There Will Be Blood or The Master. It's very lighter in tone, very funny, very laid back, but you still get the sense that Paul Thomas Anderson is onto something much bigger in scope, and that is he's playing with the detective noir genre. Think of the 70s film, think of Chinatown. The Last Shot, I believe, is another film that he cited specifically. He's taken that French Connection is another one. He takes those films and kind of plays, what if the Private Eye is rossed up in the same type of setting, but what if he's a pothead, he's a hippie, he's a surfer from California? What can he go in? Because if you think of those films, there's this great big mystery, and every other scene there's new information that leads to something bigger and bigger. And in Inherent Vice, you get that. But it's so jumbled, and you're sitting there kind of confused, but so is Joaquin Phoenix's character. He's confused. He doesn't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. And it's just perfect because it's kind of poking fun at the detective genre. It's a spoof. But it's a spoof that takes itself very seriously. And maybe that's what's getting some people thrown off, because when you watch it, you don't really realize it's a spoof, it's satire, because it's still Paul Thomas Anderson. It's still taken it very seriously. It's very confident in what it has to say, but it's a spoof at heart. And once people realize that, then maybe they could open up a little bit more and enjoy it. I had a great blast with it. It's funny. I think it's bold, it's vibrant, you feel something, and it's a film that I could watch over and over again, because I'm sure that I've missed a lot of stuff watching it, and then if I watch it again, I'm always going to pick up new stuff. And plus, you got to watch it for Joaquin Phoenix and Josh Brolin. They had great chemistry with one another, and a great physical comedy between the two of them. So it's just something. You're going to like it if you're a Paul Thomas Anderson fan, no doubt about it. You might like it if you're not, but it's harder to grasp. You have to put a lot into the film to get a lot out of it.
I think to help kind of allude to the point where you said, it's maybe not for everybody. It's a little bit different in the sense that if you're someone like me, who tends to be someone who really likes structure, who likes things that kind of click into place, then this movie's probably not for you. I think no matter who you are, there will be elements you will enjoy out of this picture, but overall you probably walk out or thinking like, well, what was the big deal of that? Some people I've been reading a lot about this picture. I've been listening a lot about this picture. Movie didn't strike me nearly as much as it did Louis. I from what I've been reading though, and what I read before I watched the movie, everyone just says you kind of got to let it wash over you. You can't, you can't really investigate. You can't really put this movie under a microscope. You just got to kind of let it wash over and happen. And I think that's a problem for a lot of people, and that's really hard to do. Who are definitely, especially because not because that's something bad. It's just because the American movie norm, status quo, is very structured. The 3 acts, the movie blockbusters have these, repetitive things, where a lot of other movies in different countries have movies that are really structured and really not. So it's a little bit more of the norm. So most people aren't used to this kind of storytelling. I mean, there are people who've done this before. Paul Thomas Anderson is not the first to kind of tell a story that doesn't necessarily, work in order and make all sense. But those movies have found an audience. The Big Lebowski, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, all these movies that aren't necessarily A, B to C, and there's many, many more that I'm probably not even thinking about, have found their audience, and people who are able to kind of just enjoy what things that are going around them, the mise en scène, the performances, and not necessarily need that structure, are easy for them to find. I have found enjoyment. I found enjoyment in Inherent Vice, but nearly not as much as Louis, just because, it is something you have to let wash over, and you just kind of got to enjoy everything as it goes along. As Louis pointed out, this is a detective mystery type story, but you kind of realize as you're watching the movie, it's not really all about the mystery. The mystery kind of falls in the background to everything else that is going on, and you just got to go along for the ride. For some easier, I think it'll be easy. For some people, I think it'll be a bit harder. I will say that it's definitely lighter in tone, but I am a big fan of Paul Thomas Anderson. I really loved The Master last year, or was that 2 years ago already? Well, 1 or 2 years ago, I loved The Master.
2 years ago.
I really enjoyed There Will Be Blood. He's done a lot of films,
Epic.
that are, and it's nothing. If you watch this movie, Inherent Vice, then you watch There Will Be Blood, you think it's probably by two different filmmakers, completely opposite. And the fact that he could show that versatility is quite incredible. Overall, I think Inherent Vice is definitely going to find an audience. I think people can enjoy it. There are amazing performances. Reese Witherspoon and Joaquin Phoenix, I think, team up for the first time since Walk the Line. You have Benicio del Toro, which is, great in everything, and he's great in this movie. But I think that it is an interesting film. It's going to find an audience. Unfortunately, I just think it's in a really, really tough year with a lot of other great films that people are going to be more attracted to, as I mentioned. Not that we put all of our emphasis on the Golden Globes, but only received one nomination from the Golden Globes. But Louis, really quick, well, do you have anything to say or add to what I was saying?
You're right, because, there's other films who have adopted like the non-linear plot line and plot structure, but this definitely has no plot. Definitely doesn't have a coherent story. It's just misunderstandings after misunderstandings led by Joaquin Phoenix, who meets unique characters in absurd situations over and over again. And it's fun. It's a great fun. And once you come into the pictures thinking, okay, maybe the story is not going to end at a certain location, it won't change. It's not a start point A and a finish point B.
I think the best way to say it is don't worry about the destination, just enjoy the ride.
Absolutely.
Now tonight, Joaquin Phoenix, who was nominated for a Best Actor in a Motion Picture, Comedy, or Musical, is going up against Ralph Fiennes from The Grand Budapest Hotel, Michael Keaton in Birdman, Bill Murray in St. Vincent, and Christoph Waltz in Big Eyes. Do you think Joaquin has a chance of taking home a Golden Globe?
Most likely not. It's tough competition, and the Golden Globes, there's always surprises to be found. But I think at this point, I think it's Michael Keaton's time.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are thinking Michael Keaton will be walking away tonight. But we still haven't gotten the Academy Award nominations yet, and I know a lot of people are waiting on that.
No.
That'll be real interesting. I'm sure that'll be coming out very soon. I believe that takes place on February 22nd. And I believe February 9th is the SAG Awards. I could be mixing up the dates. I don't have the best memory, as I'm sure you all know. But all right, so Inherent Vice, read Lou's review of chasingcinema.com/inherent-vice. Read all about Louis' in-depth review, which I think is one of Louis' best reviews, to be honest, about that movie. And
lies.
So moving on, today I want to talk about a very important film, a film that I really, really loved, and that is Selma. Selma is the new film from Ava DuVernay, who not a lot of people are going to know, or the name is not going to be very recognizable, unless most people have seen the documentary Life Itself, which came out earlier this year, which is about the life of Roger Ebert. Ava and Roger, at one point in her childhood, crossed paths, and he was a very big inspiration for her. And that's how I became familiar with the director of this film. And amazingly, tonight, as we are going to be talking more about Golden Globes, she is the first ever Black woman to be nominated for the Golden Globes, which in itself is incredible. It's a really great achievement. And personally, I believe she deserves it. Though I don't know if she'll win, it is a very, very tight race. I think she really, really did a great job with Selma. I think it is one of the best directed and best edited films of the year. It really has to say a very, very important message. I think, as we were talking about, and I've reposted, and me and Michael were talking about the interview, which is a film that was banned because of its content. And, my thing was that, is Interview, that movie, important that we need to show everyone and go through all that? Well, regardless of what happened with it, I said it wasn't that important. Where this film, I feel, is a film that's going to break the barrier walls of a theater and get to people and speak to people. I mean, this film could not come in a more pivotal time as when, this movie follows the... well, let me backtrack real quick. So the movie follows Martin Luther King, who's played by David Oyelowo, who is going to lead a march from Selma to Montgomery in order to fight for the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And it's about their struggle to kind of get this, and blacks did have the right to vote in this time frame. However, the use of intimidation and the use of literacy tests and all these things kept the African American voters out. And this movie is about the change of that. And I really like the fact that this kind of focused on one thing about Martin Luther King. It's not a biography. It doesn't tell his whole life story. It just tells a certain piece. And in that scope of this long battle, I mean, Ava DuVernay is able to put it in 2 hours beautifully. Everything, it just flows well. And it also has I believe, the best ensemble cast of the year, from Tom Wilkinson to Tim Roth to David Oyelowo, to Oprah Winfrey. I mean, it's just filled with a great cast. Everyone delivers performances that are noteworthy. But like I said, or I was saying earlier, this film is a movie that has something to say, and I heard it loud and clear. For DuVernay to put in a song at the very end of the movie during the credits that mentions Ferguson, and we're in a time period of when people are shouting Black Lives Matter, Cops' Life Matter, and we are there rioting and looting in the streets of America. That this movie couldn't come at a more pivotal time. Excuse me. And I feel like Selma really, really speaks to that. 1965. This movie the events that happened in this movie only took place 50 years ago. But we find ourselves kind of in a similar situation. It is really mind blowing. The kind of comparison and what this movie is trying to say. And like I said, it really comes at a crucial time. And, when I started becoming a critic, I looked for advice from anyone that would be willing to give it. And people pointed out to me, pay attention to what the movie says about a time that it's in. But more importantly, pay attention about what the movie's saying about today. And Selma speaks volumes on that. And I really, really find that's why important. This is a movie people need to see. It really, really... talks about, the metaphor for it today, and Ava DuVernay releasing this movie at a pivotal time in our country is absolutely why, I love writing about film and talking about film, because some films are sure there for entertainment. This film is here to say something and really have a theme that is incredible. I mean, it's amazingly emotional. It's an encouraging film. It's a really, really well-crafted piece of art. Like I said, the performances are really good. I think that it was really brilliantly edited. And I'm not one to always point at editing, but this film is really, really put together well. And, excuse me, I got something caught in my throat. But I mean, this movie could not come at a more important time, and I think that's why I love this movie so much, because it's a movie that's standing up and saying, this is what's going on. Look at what's happening to us. Nearly 50 years after these events happen, look where we are again. A house divided, and I really think it's impactful, really powerful, and I think that's why I enjoyed Selma so much. Selma was nominated for 4 Golden Globes, I believe, including Best Director, I believe Best Picture in the Drama category. I'm sorry, my notes are all over the place right now. Best Performance by an Actor in a Drama, Best Motion Picture in Drama, like I said, Best Director, and so that's 3. So I guess it's 3 Golden Globes, unless I'm forgetting one somewhere, which I probably am. But I mean, that's. Oh no! And then original song, Glory. by John Legend. So I think that's, that says a lot. I'm not sure if Selma will walk away with anything this year just because of how tight the competition is, but I feel like it's a movie people need to see. I hope you take the time out to go see this movie. I think it's important. I think it's one of the most important films of 2014, and I really, really recommend everyone goes to see it. ChasingCinema.com/Selma. Read it now as we take a break, and when we come back, we'll be recapping the 2015 Golden Globes. Hello, and thank you for rejoining us here on ChasingCinema.com's official podcast, our first podcast of 2015. We just reviewed Selma and Inherent Vice, and now me and Louis are here to recap the events of tonight, which was the 2015 Golden Globe Awards, which we live tweeted. If you've never experienced our live tweeting, make sure to go to Chasing Cinema's Twitter account at Chasing Cinema. You can read all of our tweets throughout the event. I know it'll be the show will probably be replaying. And if you want to pay attention next time, you want to watch it with us live, tune in for the Academy Awards, which I believe is February 22nd, or around that time frame at least, and we'll be live tweeting the Academy Awards. So always keep up on our Twitter and our Facebook and stuff. We are always doing things on that. But now we are moving forward as me and Louis are going to be talking about Golden Globes. Louis, what did you think about tonight's Golden Globes?
It's more of the same, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Tina Fey, Amy Poehler does an amazing job, and it's kind of sad that this is going to be the last year because the past 2 years and this year they've done a great job. But they were great. Again, they have great material. They're very funny, amazing, talented actresses and comedians. So that was good. And the Golden Globes is not too serious, and I think that's why a lot of people like the award show, including myself. It's just a fun, laid-back night that you get to honor the people that we honor every year. Mm-hmm. And it's good fun, and it kicks off the award season.
Yeah, it is kind of the though there have been awards already this year or last year. This is kind of the the pump up to the big Academy Awards, which will be coming out soon. Louis just informed me that it's most likely the Academy Award will be releasing their nominations this upcoming week, which is really exciting. And yeah, but I agree with Louis. I mean, the Golden Globes are always kind of fun, but to me, it's being on deck. We're just waiting to actually get our hands dirty and really see what's going on at the Academy Awards, which is something that I really have fun with. I got to be honest, though, the Golden Globes this year wasn't too engaging to me. There have been years where it is a little bit more fun or just more enjoyable than others. This year wasn't really that exciting. I thought there were some really good speeches. There was one especially kind of interesting win that I didn't see coming. But overall, I thought it was a good night. A good start to end, basically the beginning of the end of 2014. Now, it is Amy Poehler and Tina Fey's last year, which I didn't know about until tonight when they were mentioning it, which is quite sad because I thought they were great hosts. But who would you like to see take over as a host?
Oh, I don't know. It's too soon. I know I'm excited for Neil Patrick Harris, who's hosting the Oscars.
The Oscars, yeah, that'll be really good.
He's done great work with the Emmys, Tonys, everything. So I'm excited for that. I go to Globes. They can find someone suitable. Bring back Ricky Gervais. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, Ricky Gervais. Gilbert Gottfried. So the Celebrity Apprentice, Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah, I don't think he's the...
They'd be about that.
Yeah.
Okay, and just to be clear, we are going to only be going over the film, unless Lou wants to talk about something after right now. We are going to go through and just really quickly recap who took home what awards. Some of the names I'm not going to be able to pronounce for some of the categories, so bear with me here. So the first category that we have for film was Best Foreign Film, and we have Force Majeure, we have Get to the Trial of Vivian Amsal Get, Ida, we have Levithian, and Tangerine's Mandarin, which I believe is said much beautiful in whatever language it's supposed to be, and besides what I'm saying now. And the winner of that was Levithian, a Russian film, which I've not seen, and I don't believe you have seen either.
No.
So that doesn't say much about that, but I will say I did have the opportunity of watching Ida this year, or actually this past week, which I absolutely loved. I thought it was a very, very great film. It's a Polish film, black and white. If you remember, our dear friend Josh Bell from the Las Vegas Weekly actually brought this up when we did our top 5 favorite films of the year thus far. He mentioned a film called Ida, which is about a nun realizing that she has to go, and before taking her vows into this church, she must go meet her aunt, who she actually finds out is Jewish, and her parents died in the war. So her and her, aunt that she had just met are now going to find where her parents are buried, so she could, have that kind of closure. Very great film, very short, a movie that sounds like this, which is very art house, black and white. It's not in color, very long kind of shots, not much dialogue. It just kind of sounds like it was a quick hour and 28 minutes, hour and 30 minutes. Really quick, really good to the point. It's on Netflix. I really, really recommend everyone watching it. I still have to watch the other films in the foreign film section before the Academy Awards, but I really recommend you watch Ida. So, Josh, thanks for that recommendation. The next category is original score, and we have The Imitation Game, we have The Theory of Everything, Gone Girl, Birdman, and Interstellar. To actually kind of a little bit of surprise, Theory of Everything won that award.
Yeah, by Johan Johansson.
Yes, who a lot of people might know for his more weird type alien scores. I forget which movie it was. I don't want to say it was Battle to LA. It might have been Battle to LA, actually. Is that the movie called Battle to LA? Battle Los Angeles?
Yeah, Battle LA. I don't know if he did that.
No, I'm pretty sure he did. Because remember, the trailer was just blue sky, country.
I think we find ways to just sing.
I do. But that's really that song, and I actually really like that song. I have them on my iPad. I just don't remember the song.
According to IMDb, he did not do Battle for LA. He composed music for Prisoners.
Okay.
Theory for Everything, Foxcatcher, Wicker Park.
That's it?
I Am Here, Mystery for Ellen, Junk Love, The Good Life, Personal Effects, and no Battle LA. So maybe he did the soundtrack for it.
Yeah, man, that's what must have been
done. I lied. He did the soundtrack again for Foxcatcher, Prisoners. So you think you can dance?
Well, they used a song in the trailer. That's what it is. The Sun's Gone Dim was in the trailer of Battle Los Angeles. So I was close. I was close. So that was, but he won for Theory of Everything, which was a great score. A wonderful movie, but we'll get into more of the actual talking in the movies and stuff like that. As in the upcoming weeks, we're going to have our Academy Award predictions. We're going to be doing the Academy Award coverage. We're going to have the Chasing Cinema Choice Awards. We're going to have Josh Bell back on to talk about our top 10 favorite films of the year. So we got a lot of things coming at you guys. So we'll have plenty of time to talk about these movies. But right now, we're just going to be covering the Golden Globes. Next was Original Song, which was Lana Del Rey for Big Eyes, the song Big Eyes. We have John Legend Common for Glory, which was in Selma. We have Patti Smith and Lenny Kaye for Mercy Is from Noah. We have Greg Kurstin, Sia Furler, Will Gluck for Opportunity in Annie, and then we have Lord, which with Yellow Flicker Beat, The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1. And who won that, Louis?
Common?
Yes.
And John Legend for Glory. So.
And I really enjoyed Common's speech. It was a very touching speech.
Yes.
He said, Selma awakened the humanity in him. And he said, Selma is now, and I couldn't agree with that more. If you, when I spoke earlier to this podcast, when I reviewed Selma, I said, this movie could not have come at a more crucial time. It is a movie that really talks about what is going on right now when we have, we are at a divided house, to best put it. Really, really, great song, and I'm glad that movie was able to take home Golden Globe. Louis, do you want to do screenplay?
Screenplay. Let me see the nominee.
Okay.
If you will. Okay, so for screenplay, we have Wes Anderson, The Grand Budapest Hotel. Gillian Flynn, Gone Girl. We have Alejandro Gonzalez, Inarritu. Nicholas... No, see, I got that name
Giacobone.
Right. Giacobone. Alexander...
Denelaris.
Thank you, Jake. And Armando Bo
for Birdman.
Then we have Richard Linklater for Boyhood. and Graham Moore for The Imitation Game. And the winner goes to those fine men who wrote Birdman.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting because I really thought Gillian Flynn would have had a really good shot at her screenplay for Gone Girl. She adapted her own novel.
So yeah, she did have a leg up, you think. It's her source material. She's turning it into a film.
And she did a great job for her first time screenplay adapting and things like that.
Yeah.
It will be different in the Academy Awards. The Academy Awards has 2 categories. Yeah. It has adapted and original. Yeah. So it'll be a little bit different. But most of these stories are based off some sort of book or novel. Imitation Game is based off of a book, I believe. The Boyhood is not. Boyhood's original. Birdman is original. Gone Girl's based off something. And a few other films that I have a bet will be nominated for screenplay are going to be a lot from the adapted category.
It's interesting, and this is let me go on a side note here, because this is pretty big news. Whiplash has been declared in the adapted screenplay. And many people are surprised because it is an original work. But the directors and writers of that film originally turned that into a short film.
Yes.
To get
financing.
So
which JK was in.
Yes, it's been done. So Oscars has ruled that as adapted. Which could hurt their chances.
It really could, because that would have done really well, I think, the original category. Though I don't know if it would have been Boyhood or Birdman, which we don't even know is nominated. But chances are, yeah. But I mean, adapted, it could be really well. Whiplash was a great film. Me and Louie are going to be talking more about that film, I'm sure, very shortly. Mm-hmm. Here's a category that I'm very, very pleased to kind of happen and come through with. And it's Best Animated Feature Film. And as Louie told you guys... Oh, man.
Calm down. Take a deep breath.
Getting excited.
It's okay.
Best Animated Feature Film is one of my favorite categories in each year. I'm a huge fan of animated pictures. And this year, we had 5 films nominated in the Golden Globes, but usually at the Academy Awards, it's not that many. It's usually just 3 or 4. So it's usually not...
It could vary. Just like
probably on how many are releasing, you think? Well... most of the focus is on How to Train Your Dragon, the Lego Movie, and Box Trolls. Big Hero 6 came out a little bit later, which got a lot of love. It is a Disney film. The Book of Life is a movie that I really enjoyed. I really loved. How to Train Your Dragon 2 was incredible. I absolutely loved it. The Box Trolls, I wasn't a big fan of. The Lego Movie, I thought, is what I thought was going to be walking away with the award. Louis, did you have a different idea, or did you think Lego Movie was going to win as well?
Well... Unsurprising to some, I have not seen any animation films this past year, so I'm really going to blind and just based on your reviews and other people's reviews. Everyone keeps talking about Lego Movie,
yes.
And it does look fun, and it looks excellent. So, of course, to me, that was the front runner because, come on, it's the Lego Movie, but you talk nonstop about How to Train Your Dragon 2, and you love that film very much.
Yeah.
And
How to Train Your Dragon 2 won, which was really well-deserved in my opinion. I think, well, here, let me put it in perspective. I gave the Lego Movie 3.5 stars, and it ended up being on my top 5 of the years thus far. I also gave How to Train Your Dragon 2 4 out of 4 stars. That was my second favorite film in the middle of June. Unfortunately, Lego Movie did not remain on my list. It was bumped off because at the end of the year there was a lot of great films. But How to Train Your Dragon remained on that list, and I absolutely loved it. I think it was an absolute perfect film. 4 out of 4 stars I gave it. I thought it just worked in perfect harmony. Absolutely touching and beautiful, and it looked great. I absolutely love this movie, and I really thought Lego Movie was going to be taking it home today. So I'm very, very pleased to see that movie had won. Louis, why don't you do supporting actor?
Okay, the supporting actor nominees are Robert Duvall, The Judge, Ethan Hawke, Boyhood, Edward Norton, Birdman, Mark Ruffalo, Foxcatcher, and J.K. Simmons, Whiplash.
Now, did you have a prediction, or, I mean, this is kind of a tough, this was one that was a little bit tough. I think there are 2 or 3 that definitely are worth talking about this, especially out of the 5. I don't think Robert Duvall deserved a nomination, unfortunately. I know that might sound harsh. It is the Golden Globes. They like celebrities, but I did not think Robert Duvall had a chance. Ethan Hawke, I think, did well. I thought he was done out by his co-star.
See, I disagree. And again, this is not a time to engage in intellectual debates.
Oh, I don't mind.
Because we lack in intellect. But I thought Ethan Hawke was the best part of Boyhood. So I had this, I was rooting for him in a way, but I loved Edward Norton in Birdman. I thought he was fantastic and a great part of Birdman. And of course, Mark Ruffalo was amazing in Foxcatcher himself. And then J.K. Simmons, he made Whiplash that much better.
Yeah.
And
well, he, in my opinion, he essentially made Whiplash. Yeah. I agree with you. I think those three were really, really big. Asking me, I would say it's definitely more between Edward Norton and J.K. Simmons. Before I saw Whiplash, which we just saw recently, both of us, I would have said I want Mark Ruffalo to win because I thought Mark Ruffalo was really, really great. I thought he, though not necessarily the highlight of Foxcatcher, he does amazing with his performance. But to no surprise, the great performance, the demanding performance of J.K. Simmons wins in this category for Whiplash.
And definitely deserving.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we haven't written a review for this film yet because we're going to be talking about it a lot. We're probably going to write a review later for when more of the Academy Awards comes out. The moment he walks on screen, he demands respect. He's a fearful yet terrifying character. Yet him and Miles Teller have this beautiful chemistry of understanding that is beyond normal comprehension. I just think their interaction is really, really amazing, and he's just absolutely great in this performance. And I think this is a well-deserved award.
Couldn't agree more. And J.K. Simmons has been great in his career. We can't, even the original Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, he was great in those.
Love him. And I really took a liking to him in Juno. I thought his performance in Juno
very heartening.
Was very heartening, very strong, and a great foil to Ellen Page's character. And it makes no surprise he becomes another great foil for Miles Teller. He feeds off. He gives them great material to work with, and he's a great actor to work with. And
I think he brings that movie a really, really great debate because, one of my things is that a lot of movies were very, very entertaining, but there were really, not few, but there were really a handful of films that were really, really great for, a thought-provoking films. And I think Whiplash is a really great thought-provoking film. I've heard a lot of debate about, his character and his process of teaching and, all this stuff. It's incredibly great film. If you've not seen it, try to find it somewhere in theaters, or it'll be coming out to DVD hopefully soon because it was a great, great movie. Now, speaking of supporting, the supporting actress category has 5 nominations. That is Meryl Streep from Into the Woods, Emma Stone for Birdman, Keira Knightley for The Imitation Game, Jessica Chastain for A Most Violent Year, and Patricia Arquette for Boyhood. Now, I love Meryl Streep more than probably most people do. I'm absolutely in love with Meryl Streep. I think she's one of the greatest actors that have ever lived. However, she, like Robert Duvall, unfortunately, I do not think deserved a Golden Globe nomination, but I think they're trying to make an example of how many nominations you could actually earn. Because she's had an incredible amount of nominations, and it's just going to keep going. She is the heart and soul of Into the Woods, but I was really unsatisfied with that picture. I really wasn't very crazy about it, as you could read in my review. I had a lot of problems with it. She was good, but it's definitely not to the category of her competitors here, especially Emma Stone and Birdman, which I thought was really, really great. Keira Knightley I thought was awesome in The Imitation Game. Jessica Chastain I thought was the best part of A Most Violent Year, though my feelings about Most Violent Year aren't very strong, so that doesn't mean very much. And I thought Patricia Arquette was phenomenal in Boyhood. And Louis, who ended up taking the award home?
Patricia Arquette for Boyhood.
Now, you said you disagree with me. You don't think that she was better than Ethan Hawke.
No, I really like Ethan Hawke's performance. I think it was more understated and definitely connected more with. Don't get me wrong, Arquette did a great job with the character. Very believable. Definitely, I had no problem with her performance per se, but I did not like the character.
Yeah.
I didn't like the character's story arc. I didn't like the character at all. And to me, that kind of hurts the performance, even though she did a great job and definitely deserves some form of praise, definitely a nomination. I have no problem with. But, I recently just saw The Imitation Game, and I thought Keira Knightley did a wonderful job performing in that. And then Emma Stone in Birdman was amazing.
So would you have given it out of those two?
Yeah, most likely. because when you talk about Birdman, you talk about a lot of things, and people haven't been talking about Emma Stone, and that's kind of unfortunate because she really held her own in the whole film.
Yeah, I think there's some really great performances in Birdman. As I mentioned on the podcast before, I wasn't absolutely crazy about Birdman. It wasn't a film that really connected with me as much as it did many other people. I thought the cinematography was great. I think there are great performances in it, but it did not win me over as much as it did everyone else, including Louis.
Yeah, again, since I've taken my sabbatical from the podcast, I've caught up on a lot of films, and Birdman is one of them, and I'm a big fan of that film.
Yeah. Next is a pretty crucial category, one being a groundbreaking nomination, and that is for Best Director. And for the first time ever, we have a black woman nominated for Best Director at the Golden Globes, and that is Ava DuVernay for the film Selma. Among her, we have Wes Anderson for The Grand Budapest Hotel, David Fincher for Gone Girl, we have Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu for Birdman, and Richard Linklater for Boyhood. I think this category is really, really tough. I think there were some really great directed pictures. In my review for Selma, as I mentioned earlier, I really, really loved DuVernay's direction in that picture. I think she really carried a film and really made sure that it told a whole lot of things in a very a wide time frame in a very more or less small scope. I think she was able to really capture the power of those marches and the marches that didn't happen. I really, really enjoyed that. However, I equally enjoyed Fincher's direction in Gone Girl. Very, very powerful. Again, in my top 10, both of those films are amongst my category of being one of my favorite movies of the year. And then there's Boyhood, which to a lot of people kind of seems like a shoo-in because of how long he's worked on the project. Louis, what's your opinion on these?
David Fincher, amazing. He always does a good job, and he did an amazing work with Gone Girl, so I have no arguments there. I have yet to see the Grand Budapest Hotel or Selma. I'm planning to watch both of them this up and coming week, so we could discuss about it later. But again, it doesn't surprise me that both of those directors are included in the nominations. And of course, with all the praise Boyhood and Birdman received this past year, again, it's no surprise that Linklater and Inarritu got nominations.
Yes. But Linklater was one to kind of pull it through, as he won Best Director at the Golden Globes tonight. I believe, especially those two,
front runners.
Yeah, Birdman and Boyhood will definitely be reappearing in that category. I would argue Fincher and would probably be in that category too. But I really, really hope Ava DuVernay gets in that. I mean, again, the first ever black woman to be nominated. She'd only be the fourth woman nominated ever in the Academy. Mind you, out of the 89 awards. So I always get these numbers mixed up, but I'm pretty sure there's been 86 Academy Awards, but 89 Best Director Oscars have went out, and only one have ever left with a woman, and no black person has ever won, and only one woman, so she'd be breaking some.
That was pretty recent with...
Yes, 2010 for The Hurt Locker with Catherine Bigelow, James Cameron's ex-wife, and like I said, only three others.
Beat that night. He was also nominated.
Yes.
Got good.
Moving on to the comedy and musical section. If you do not know how the Golden Globes work, they are split up into two categories. We have actor and actress and picture in a comedy or musical. And then we have drama. So there's two different categories.
And that's one aspect I really like about the Golden Globes.
I do too.
I understand why the Oscars, they don't do that. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, comedy deserves its own spotlight sometimes, So Golden Globes is a chance for that to happen, and I do appreciate it.
I like that too. I think it's a great way for, like I said, this award a show. But I think the cutthroat thing with the Oscars of just saying there's only one.
Yeah,
and I think that's really
which makes sense. Yeah.
So why don't you hit me with the best actress for a comedy or musical?
We have Amy Adams, Big Eyes; Emily Blunt, Into the Woods; Helen Mirren, The 100-Foot Journey; Julianne Moore, Mags to the Stars?
Maps to the Stars.
Maps, I can read that. I need glasses. And again, God forgive me on this pronunciation.
Quanzane Wallace for Annie.
Thank you, Jake.
And now, again, I'm surprised that Into the Woods earned any sort of nomination. I'm really not a fan of that movie, especially Emily Blunt. I don't think she deserved. And I have yet to see Maps to the Stars and The 100-Foot Journey. So this was the kind of category that I was like, wow, I don't know here. But I have heard really great things about After the Stars and the 100-Foot Journey, and your Helen Mirren, she's also someone similar to Meryl Streep, who's definitely a high class actress that definitely name is not foreign to when it comes to winning awards. Annie, I was quite shocked that she was nominated. I think she was very good. I don't think she was nowhere near as good as she was in the film Beasts of the Southern Wild, thank you. But then again, Annie doesn't call for that type of performance. But even in Annie, there's a heart-crushing scene, and she gives an amazing moment where you're like, wow, that girl is an actress. So I'm glad she's still making things and making movies. It's good for her to try different things out. I hope that she does more than just kind of the Annie type role. But I think for being a young girl and experiencing this, I think she needs to really do, a wide variety of stuff and having fun and not just being in the only types of movies like Beasts of the Southern Wild.
Of course, and this is her first major production.
Yes.
Because Beast was a small independent
Very
film.
small film.
So this is good to get her toes.
And Beasts of the Southern Wild originally was about a white boy, not a young black girl. So the fact that that was changed and she got that was so slim, but so grateful, because now we have hopefully an up-and-coming great actress, which she already is, but hopefully she continues on that path and continues to make great pictures. Anyway, the winner of that category was Amy Adams for Big Eyes. Louis has not seen Big Eyes, and I really enjoyed this movie. I think this is Burton's best film in years. I think part of that has to do with it being written by the same gentleman who wrote Ed Wood. That is the team of Scott Alexander and Larry Kraszewski. Larry and I have spoken over the years as I started chasing cinema. He's a really nice guy. I was able to reach out to him and ask him for advice. He taught criticism and was a critic at one point. And he and I have actually spoken about him being on the podcast. He is really, really crazy busy right now touring for this film and doing a lot of things. But he has promised me that in a month or two, I will be able to get some sort of interview with him. So he's an amazing, amazing guy. He's such a nice guy. That team also, just to give you guys a quick glance, they wrote Ed Wood. They also wrote Man on the Moon. They also wrote The People vs. Larry Flint. And they wrote, I believe, 1408. And they also directed and wrote one of my favorite comedies that not many people have seen, and that's Screwed. A great, great comedy, but more people should see it. So I was surprised, and as me in our last podcast, 2014, Josh and Michael and I were going back and forth saying, Big Eyes might not be a movie that wins awards, because it is a good movie, but it necessarily isn't the standout film. So I was really glad that Big Eyes was able to take at least one award home, and that was very, very refreshing.
And yeah, when Amy Adams is happy,
amazing.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
She's just great.
Next, we have the best actor in a comedy or musical, which is Ralph Fiennes in The Grand Budapest Hotel, Michael Keaton in Birdman, Bill Murray in St. Vincent, Joaquin Phoenix in Inherent Vice, and Christoph Waltz for Big Eyes. Louis, why don't you talk about this category?
Another stacked category here, because you got, again, Christoph Waltz, who everyone loves,
yes.
Including the foreign press. So even if his performance wasn't a standout in a non-standout movie, he still could win because it's still Christoph Waltz.
And he walked with supporting actor last year for Django Unchained.
So you can't argue him. Joaquin Phoenix in Inherent Vice, absolutely.
Or 2 years ago in Django Unchained, I'm sorry.
It could be 2 years ago, who knows?
God.
Yeah, because we're in the next year already, right? Was it
Django in 12 Years didn't come out the same year, did it?
Yeah, it came out when Silver Linings Playbook.
Yeah.
Bobby D. Last year was
supporting actor.
So Wolf of Wall Street came out the year. 12 Years a Slave. Whoever won that year.
Was it Benedict Cumberbatch?
He didn't win.
Oh, jeez.
He won 12 Years a Slave. Oh, see, we're film critics, and we don't remember. This is great.
I just have a bad memory, that's all.
I know. See, I can't blame you. I should have.
You should. Yeah, this is your job to remember things.
If you give me the nominees, I bet you I could.
Well, I could too, I'm sure.
No, lies. So we're going to take a moment. We're going to get off track. We're going to find out who won. Well, because I don't know if Christoph Waltz won for the Golden Globes, because I know he wasn't nominated for the SAG Award that year, but he won the Oscar. Tommy Lee Jones was in Lincoln.
Yeah, that was forever ago.
That was in last year. We're talking about last year.
Best supporting actor in Jared Leto. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he won.
But that wasn't a comedy or musical, was it?
No. Neither was Django, necessarily.
That's true.
Yeah, Jared Leto won. Okay, we got it. Jared Leto won Best Supporting Actor last year.
What?
For drama.
But what about who won Best Supporting Actor for comedy or musical?
Keep looking.
Or do they not do that?
They do that.
Do they do Best Actor?
Maybe they don't. We didn't say Best Supporting Actor.
Oh, no, this is Best Actor. So it was Jared Leto. Oh, no.
This is Best Actor in a Comedy or Musical.
I'm confused.
He's confused. We're all confused. This
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, one. Oh, for Golden Globe. There you go.
Dang. How did we forget that?
I don't know. It's the Golden Globe. There's a lot of drinking, a lot of jokes, a lot of fun, and this got a little incoherent. Like
we forgot.
Bad
Bad memories, guys.
But Joaquin Phoenix is great. Bill Murray, who doesn't love Bill Murray? St. Vincent, we have yet to see, but it does look like a fun movie. And of course, Michael Keaton. Ralph Fiennes. Listen, it's Birdman's year. It feels like Michael Keaton's year. He's everywhere. Everyone's praising him. Even President Obama said something nice about his performance. So it's no surprise that he did end up winning this award.
Yes, but President Obama's favorite film was what?
He did say, well, let's save that for later when we talk best
Okay.
President, he's a busy man.
He didn't give everything a watch.
He didn't watch it.
He never saw Nightcrawler. Best Comedy or Musical, Best Picture. All right, so we have Birdman, The Grand Budapest Hotel, Into the Woods, Pride, and St. Vincent. Pride, which did not get a major release out here in the United States. If it did, I was not made aware about it. I believe it is on Netflix now. St. Vincent, we also missed. But Into the Woods, I, again, can't believe this movie was nominated.
It's like the
I'm shocked. The Grand Budapest Hotel, Wes Anderson film. I think me and Lou have spoken many times about Wes Anderson and us just not being in his audience. We are just not. We do not. When Wes Anderson sits down and writes a script, he is not thinking about me and Louie, because if he did, he would make movies that we and Louie would be able to just get into, but we can't. I remember specifically 2 years ago, I guess, because that was the same time as Jake Chain. Everyone said, Moonrise Kingdom, Moonrise Kingdom, Moonrise Kingdom. Me and Louie sat through Moonrise Kingdom, and I was so mad that I sat through Moonrise Kingdom. And I was like, this is the movie everyone's talking. I did not get it. I could not get into it. But I'm not saying the man's a bad filmmaker, because I know he is. I'm just not his demographic. His movies just don't click with me. And for that reason, I wouldn't get for the Grand Budapest Hotel. Though we have not seen it, either of us.
And I would like to see it, just to give it another good old try. But I probably
He's going to upset me.
The same way as Moonrise Kingdom.
So I think to anybody, Birdman looks to be the shoe-in for this award. However, to our shocking, which I think was the biggest twist of the night, it did not win. Louis, what won?
The Grand Budapest Hotel.
Which means me and Louie really, really need to see this movie.
Again, it seems like almost every year that a Wes Anderson film came out, he does get a lot of nominations, and a lot of different awards from different award shows. So again, we shouldn't be too surprised, but it did seem like Birdman was in the running for this.
Yeah. Moving on, we have a Best Actress in a Drama category. We have Jennifer Aniston in Cake, which I don't think has come out here either yet. Felicity Jones for The Theory of Everything. Julianne Moore for Still Alice. Rosamund Pike for Gone Girl. And Reese Witherspoon for Wild. I think Reese Witherspoon easily deserves his nomination. She was phenomenal in her performance in Wild. Rosamund Pike stole Gone Girl from everyone. Absolutely killer performance. No pun intended. Jennifer Aniston's Cakes has not released here. Still Alice has not released here, but we were able to watch it, which Louis was able to watch it, which he absolutely loved. And Felicity Jones' Theory of Everything. Personally, I believe Felicity Jones' The Theory of Everything really deserved this award. I think the acting in that movie was beyond belief. Absolutely phenomenal. I think her work with Eddie Redmayne was phenomenal. For her to kind of compete with a man who really embodied a character that does physical changes, character changes, that's really, really tough to do when you're not in that same situation. You're not being altered as much. We really look at people when they physically alter themselves. When we look at, people who win these awards, Foxcatchers, and as Steve Carell is a great example, and other people who've gone to those altering, Raging Bull, Robert De Niro, things that actually change our appearance. And Eddie Redmayne necessarily didn't change his appearance, but who he becomes, you could tell is a very, very tough thing to do. And she did a great job keeping up. However, she did not win. Louis, who won Best Actress?
Julianne Moore for Still Alice.
Which you say is a great film. You thought she was great, and then I still have to watch it.
Yeah, it's a really good film, and she gives a performance that is inspiring and heartbreaking at the same time. It moves you, it saddens you. It's just a great performance all around, and Julianne Moore proves yet again that she is definitely one great actress.
Moving on to the Best Actor in Drama category, we have Steve Carell in Foxcatcher, Benedict Cumberbatch in The Imitation Game, Jake Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler, David Oyelowo in Selma, and Eddie Redmayne in Theory of Everything. Now, this is, I think, going to be the toughest category of the entire year, especially at the Academy Awards. All of these are solid performances. I love every single one of them. Steve Carell was amazing in Foxcatcher. Benedict Cumberbatch, easily phenomenal in The Imitation Game. Absolutely one of his best performances ever. Jake Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler delivers his best performance of his career. David Oyelowo, who kind of came out of the woodwork with this amazing performance. I said that, he was really embodied MLK and really took that character. Well, not character, but took that role of how we've seen Martin Luther King, how he portrayed on film, to a whole other level. And then Eddie Redmayne, as I've just spoke about, amazing playing Stephen Hawking.
It's going to be interesting since the Oscars are right around the corner. It's either going to be the same group of men or someone's going to get replaced by Michael Keaton.
Yes, which is likely of happening.
It's going to be interesting who gets left out.
I honestly feel it would probably be David Oyelowo. I love his performance, but I just feel either him or Jake Gyllenhaal, which would be a shame because Jake Gyllenhaal's performance is phenomenal.
Killer.
But I think David Oyelowo, one of those two are going to be replaced.
Because that's something to watch.
Because Steve Carell, Foxcatcher is phenomenal. Benedict Cumberbatch, I can't even argue. But those two, though I feel are equally as powerful, I think Birdman is going to take. I would honestly choose these 5 over Birdman. Do you agree with that, or who would you replace? Again, you haven't seen Selma or Theory of Everything,
which I'm planning to see that very soon.
Yeah,
but just looking at the trailers alone and seeing extended clips online, Eddie Redmayne definitely deserves a nomination. You could just tell by watching a 2-minute clip, like, wow, what a transformation. So,
And not only did he get a nomination, he won tonight for Best Actor in a Drama. Eddie Redmayne, well-deserved. It's one of the best performances of the year. Absolutely phenomenal. Now, Louis, why don't you read us the Best Picture in a Drama category nominations?
We have Foxcatcher, The Imitation Game, Selma, The Theory of Everything, and Boyhood.
Now,
any comments, Jacob? Jacoby.
Not really. Not because I don't want to talk. I mean, not because I have nothing to say, but because I'm trying to keep. We're going to be talking about these movies for the next month and a half. Pretty much a whole month, and we're going to be constantly talking about these movies. So I don't want to talk too much. I reviewed Selma just now. I'm sure you know how much I loved it. I just talked about Theory of Everything. You know how much I loved it. I wrote reviews on all these films except Boyhood. So you could read all my reviews on those. I don't think any of them received. Well, I actually didn't review Foxcatcher. You reviewed Foxcatcher. Yes, but I reviewed Imitation Game, Selma, and Theory of Everything. I'm pretty sure nothing got lower than a 3.5 out of those. I believe the Imitation Game got 3.5.
Yes.
But Selma and Theory of Everything got 4 out of 4 stars. I've not reviewed Boyhood, and Louis reviewed Foxcatcher, which he gave 3.5. Louis, what won Best Picture?
Well, it appears that President Obama runs the foreign press because Boyhood did end up winning this award.
Which I don't think was shocking to a lot of people. No. I think it is a front runner going into the Academy Awards. But you never know. You never know. And then we go back to how many films are going to be nominated.
Yeah, that's always interesting.
We have Grand Budapest Hotel. We have Selma, Foxcatcher, Theory of Everything, Boyhood, Birdman. I don't think St. Vincent will get nominated. No. I don't think Annie will be nominated. No. Did Annie get nominated? Into the Woods won't be nominated. No. So, I mean, but there are other films that I feel like should have been. Yeah, Nightcrawler.
Could be included. It was left out here.
Gone Girl.
Could be included very well.
The
Oscars have been very kind, very friendly to David Fincher.
Even though last year you were pretty upset because it only chose 9 out of 10, right? Or was that the year before?
Yeah, but you get so close. You're 9.
Might as well just
even 10.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I never understood that unless because every year you can find at least 10 films. We never did a top 8 films. We never did a top 9.
We both have top 10 films.
It's top 10. So I think at one point, if they should just make it 10 because we're never going to get a year where only 3 films get nominated, which would be wild. I would love that. If they eliminate all this fuss. We only give 3 films nominated.
Or do they only nominate 1 film? It's the only film that deserves it.
Make it 2 film race.
That'd be
make it like the presidential elections.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be really intense.
And then you see the promos on TV, vote approved by Nightcrawler.
Oh, yeah, and people have to vote?
Yeah. Just make it 10. Come on, man.
Yeah, but we're going to be finding out more this week as hopefully the Academy Award will be releasing their nominations this week.
January 15th.
January 15th, as Louis has told me. So make sure to tune into that. We'll be talking about that.
Early in the morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2015 is starting. Louis and I are still going to be talking about movies from 2014. Next week, we're going to be talking about American Sniper, Black Hat, and maybe a few other films. So keep watching some films. Thank you for tuning us into ChasingCinema.com's official podcast, the first podcast of 2015. I am Jacob Toronto.
Louis Corzo.
And please continue chasing cinema.